In the endless stretch of ocean where horizons blur and waves tower like moving mountains, fishing vessels push forward into waters that have claimed countless souls. Today we witness the darkest chapters of the sea, the moments when nature's fury overwhelms human courage, when a single mistake becomes the last, and when the ocean demands its terrible price from those who dare harvest its depths. With every net cast, every engine started, every journey begun, fishermen knew the risks. They understand the contract written in salt water and blood, yet they still go, driven by necessity, by tradition, by the hope that today will not be their turn to join the silent crew beneath the waves. Join us as we explore the tragedies that remind us the sea gives generously, but takes without mercy, capsizing deaths. Even successful fishing trips carry danger in the catch itself. Holds filled with tons of fish create a shifting weight that can capsize a boat in seconds if not properly managed. The crew knows this, balances the load carefully, monitors the list of the vessels. But when a storm hits, when waves throw the boat sideways, all that weight becomes a pendulum swinging toward disaster. Several vessels have simply rolled over and sunk because their catch shifted at the worst possible moment. The crew, trapped below decks or thrown into the water, had no chance. The boats went down so fast that rescue was impossible. 1 minute working, the next minute drowning in darkness as the ship inverted and dragged them to the bottom. The sea gives, but it takes with interest. Every hold packed with fish represents both fortune and potential death. The fishermen walk this line constantly, choosing between profit and safety, between one more net heading for port. Sometimes they choose wrong, sometimes the sea decides for them. If you're watching this, you understand that the sea's stories need telling. These fishermen deserve remembering. Hit that subscribe button, become part of keeping their memory alive, because every story we share honors the ones who didn't come home. Lost at sea. In October 1991, 3 weather systems collided off the coast of Massachusetts. What resulted was a storm so powerful, so perfectly terrible in its formation, that meteorologists still study it decades later. At the heart of this maelstrom was the Andrea Gale, a sword-fishing boat. 6 men aboard, pushing for one last profitable catch before winter shut down the season. Captain Billy Tyne knew the risks. Every fisherman knows them, but knowing and respecting are different things, and the pressure to fill holds, to make payments, to prove yourself capable, that pressure makes men gamble against odds no sane person would take. The Andrea Gale turned toward home, straight into the teeth of the developing storm, and the ocean swallowed her completely. Waves reached heights of 100 feet. The wind screamed at 75 miles an hour, with gusts reaching past 90, shearing the tops of waves and turning the air itself into a drowning hazard. Rescue helicopters launched despite the conditions, because that's what humans do. We try to save each other even when it's hopeless. One helicopter went down, adding more names to the storm's toll. The crew was rescued, but it showed just how powerful the ocean had become. The Andrea Gale's emergency beacon never activated. 6 experienced fishermen, men who knew the sea like they knew the back of their hands, simply ceased to exist. No bodies recovered, no final radio calls, just silence and the endless roll of grey water. The ocean had erased them as completely as wiping words from a chalkboard. Hypothermia and crushing. In the frozen waters of Alaska, the Bering Sea stands as perhaps the most unforgiving fishing ground on Earth. Here, king crab fishermen work under conditions that would break ordinary men in hours. The waves rise 40 feet high, crashing over decks slick with ice. The air temperature drops to 20 below zero, and the water, should you fall in, gives you perhaps 3 minutes before hypothermia steals consciousness. The work happens in bursts of frantic activity. When the crab pots come up, weighing 800 pounds each, the crews must move fast. The deck becomes a battlefield of swinging steel, rushing water, and desperate hands working frozen winches. One moment of lost focus, one foot placed wrong, one wave at the wrong angle, and the fisherman disappears. Sometimes over the rail into the black water, sometimes crushed beneath a sliding pot, sometimes swept away so quickly the crew doesn't realize someone is missing until the count comes up short. The statistics tell the story in cold numbers. For every 100,000 workers, over 100 die on these boats, with the worst seasons claiming nearly twice that number. It makes crab fishing deadlier than logging, deadlier than mining, deadlier than nearly any profession humans have invented. The money draws them in $40,000 for a good season, earned in brutal weeks of sleepless work. But the sea collects its percentage in flesh and bone. One vessel, the Destination, simply vanished in 2017. 6 men aboard, the boat went down so fast that there wasn't even time for a mayday call. Search crews found only debris floating in the grey waters. The bodies, like so many before them, stayed with the ship in the deep. The ocean had taken its due, swallowed everything whole, left families on shore with nothing but questions and empty chairs at dinner tables. Fire and poison. Modern fishing vessels pack tremendous power into relatively small hulls. They carry heavy equipment, fuel tanks, hydraulic systems operating under immense pressure. They are floating warehouses of things that can explode, crush, or poison, and when these systems fail at sea, far from any help, the results turn nightmarish fast. Fires at sea hold special terror. Surrounded by water yet unable to use it, crews watch flames consume their only refuge while toxic smoke fills the air. Jump overboard and you're dead from exposure in an hour. Stay aboard and the fire decides your fate. Many choose the water anyway, preferring to go numb and cold rather than burn. The bodies, when found, tell the story of impossible choices made in moments of pure panic. Engine rooms become death traps when carbon monoxide leaks. The gas, odorless and invisible, simply puts men to sleep and stops their hearts. Crews have been found slumped at their stations, looking peaceful, as if they simply had decided to rest their eyes for a moment, but they never wake up. The ocean claims them not through violence, but through silent suffocation. Hydraulic failures spray superheated fluid, 200 degrees or more, across anyone standing nearby. The burns, when they happen, are catastrophic, and in the middle of the ocean, hours away from any hospital, there's nothing to be done. The injured die in agony despite everything their crewmates try. The ocean becomes a prison, the boat a torture chamber, and distance the final executioner. Cable deaths. In the North Sea, fishing trawlers drag massive nets across the ocean floor, scooping up everything in their path. The work requires precision, timing, and constant awareness of the massive forces at play. The nets can weigh several tons when full. The cables holding them strain under pressures that could snap a man's spine like a dry twig, and when something goes wrong, it goes catastrophically wrong in seconds. A cable under tension, should it break, becomes a whip moving faster than the eye can track. Fishermen call them the Widowmakers, and the name fits perfectly. These cables have cut men in half, removed limbs, struck with such force that death comes before the brain registers what happened. The deck offers nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. You're simply there, or you're not. Cable accidents happen without warning. A net snags on debris below. The crew continues hauling unaware. The cable stretches further, and then snaps with a sound like a cannon shot. It whips across the deck at hundreds of miles an hour. Men die instantly. Some lose limbs in the blink of an eye. Those who survive carry the images forever. Many never return to fishing. The deck becomes painted with tragedy in seconds, and there's nothing anyone can do to stop it. The ocean doesn't care about experience or caution. A moment's bad luck, a corroded link in a chain, a piece of unseen debris, any of these can transform a routine day into a massacre. The fishermen know this. They work anyway, because bills demand paying, and families need feeding, and the sea is where they've always worked. These stories, these tragedies, they're not abstractions or statistics. They're fathers who didn't come home, brothers who vanished, sons whose mothers scan every face of the dock, hoping against hope for a mistake in the reports. The ocean feeds the world, but the fishermen who make that possible, they pay in ways most of us never see or understand. If these stories moved you, if you believe in honoring those who risk everything to feed the rest of us, then subscribe to this channel and hit that like button. Let's make sure their sacrifices, their courage, their terrible final moments aren't forgotten in the endless roll of the waves. They deserve that much, and so do the families they left behind.